Hey everyone! Oh, there we go. Did I leave Oblivion running? No. Just our wonderful background music. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Hello, welcome. One of the awesome CTF live streams that we have for Hack the Box. Always our hostess with the mostest, Dark, aka John. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at. Appreciate having you here. Today we are here for the awesome our upcoming CTF that actually starts tomorrow. In this, go ahead, I'll post this in while I'm talking about it. Maybe. Here, let's see. Emma, is my mic doing a little bit better? I can fix that between talks too. Regardless. Okay. I will fix that. I can do that right now, actually. There we go. Should be better. Hooray for microphone stuff. Anyways, that aside, I just posted a link in chat to the CTF. Awesome. Thank you, Emma. And thank you for letting me know about that right away. I posted a link in chat for the stuff that we have starting tomorrow. And hi, chat. Hi, Plane. Your name. Thank you so much for being here, Coon. Good morning, no matter where you're at. It was better? Okay. I will make it better soon. That's a problem. That link that I posted to our CT page, the time and dates on that will automatically adjust your time zone, but just keep an eye on that. That is going to start, at least for, I'm in U.S. Central tomorrow, at 8 a.m., exactly 24 hours from that will be started. This CTF, this is our cyber skills benchmark CTF to be our business, but this is thank you for letting me know. Yeah, we will work on that. Okay. Yeah, but my it's really a noise canceling that's going on, and I will fix that. That's an easy. Wait, that fixed. Okay. Yeah, we'll get that fixed between talks. Thank you, chat, for letting me know as well. I appreciate it. Either way, let's get to what we were talking about. Here. Hopefully it should be a little bit better now. It's not working, yeah. Either way, let's get into our talks, and I can fix while that's going on. That is an easy one to remediate. So we have the Operation Blackout. This is our global benchmark. Still, but okay, yeah, we'll fix it. That's easy enough. Anyways, thank you, chat, for we'll get that. At least you know it's me this morning. Either way, that is starting here too. That has some awesome prizes as always. If you're not already ready, let me go ahead and put this at just because it's gotten a little bit away from us. There we go. Oh, it's not the real me. Oh, good. If you have not joined the CTF, be sure to click on that link. You chat. I will fix this between our talks. It won't be too bad. Anyways, so go ahead and join the CTF. We have some awesome prizes for that. You can take a look at the details for that on the event page itself that I linked in chat. Meanwhile, while that is going on, for the actual CTF start, the actual CTF starts, we do have some talks today, starting off with a talk one of our engineers here internally at Hack the Box. This is from Odysseus. I'm going to do the best job I can, Odysseus, pronouncing your name. Optus. There we go. Yeah. Close, detecting the backdoor. So really cool talk. If you're not familiar with backdoor, anyways, chat. We will mix between talks. Thank you, everyone who's commenting in chat. I appreciate it. That won't be a hard thing to fix. But if you taking a look at things that can operate in, as a backdoor, how systems can how they themselves there, this is an all talk for you. After that, we're gonna have we have 3 more talks for today. Following this talk, we have attack servers. Box escaping by Panos. Pam, he is the head of community. He's my team lead. Yes, I am ignoring chat. No. So we have some awesome talks coming up. One quick announcement that we do have a challenge to be a couple issues with this. Bus factor did have to be adjusted. It is now I am root. That has been tweaked. So just keep that. Awesome. Let me go ahead and so I can fix my audio issues. That won't be. We will go and switch right into the talks. Thank you everyone for your patience. I appreciate it here. Our first talk is going to be cleaning house, detecting and removing the XE backdoor by Canoptus, and go ahead and take it away.
This is Canopus from Hack the Box. I want to welcome you all to our Global Cyber Skills Benchmark CTF of 2025, dubbed Operation Blackout. Today, in our workshop, we're going to be taking a look at a challenge from last year's business CTF called mitigation. This was quite a fun challenge to create actually, so I hope you enjoyed it as well. So let's get to it. The description reads, having now gathered all the intelligence, you are now making the final preparations to attack the vault. You connect back to your server to review some important evidence one last time. However, as soon as you connect, you discover things are in complete disorder. You check the root directory and you find root backdoor.log, clearly evidence of an active backdoor. Eliminate the backdoor in order to continue with your plans. A new line is added to the log file approximately every minute, and we shall connect to the server using SSH and root tour as credentials. So let's SSH. There's the log file, and the backdoor is still active, and a timestamp, a time difference of about 1 minute. Firstly, let's check out what kind of distro are we working with here. We have the Debian 12 bookworm. All right, so how do we begin? Well, we know that something checks the machine approximately every minute or so to gather the status of the backdoor. We don't know if this something is something local or something remote, but what we could do to figure out its behavior is to monitor the executions of the execution of programs and kind of see what does the checker do. We could do this using a tool called pspy. I have it here in my props directory. And let's copy it over. Let's make it executable, and let's check out what options do we have. We should record the parent PIDs as well, and also let's set the interval to 1. Immediately, we can see some pretty strange things going on. The first thing that catches our eye is this line right here, which something is being read from our temp directory and then later executed. This is strange on its own, but the strangest thing about it is the parent process, which is an SSH connection, or it has something to do with SSH, because the parent process of this one is, well, the SSH server. Speaking of which, let's create an SSH connection with PSPyOpen to check out how does SSHing into the machine look like. Oh, there it goes again. Let's wait for it to finish. There's our SSH connection being accepted, and we see that there's some environment variable setting going on, something about the message of the day, and then we are dropped into bash. So this is what a legit SSH connection looks like, and this is what the attacker is doing. So it has something to do with SSHD. Now, around the time we did Business CTF last year, it was big in the news, the infamous XZ backdoor, or the libelZMA backdoor. Essentially, some obfuscated code made its way, some malicious obfuscated code made its way into the XZ upstream, and that directly led to the SSH server of some distros being compromised because of the way some distros build SSH. The malicious libelZMA libraries are versions 5.6.0 and 5.6.1, which we can see if we do dpkg or dpagage-l to list and then grep lzma. And indeed we have version 5.6.1. So how does this affect SSH? Well, if we list the libraries that SSHD links against, we see that SSH links against libelZMA. So since libelZMA is compromised, then effectively SSH is as well. On the contrary, on non-Debian based systems like Arch, by the way, if we list the libraries of SSHD, we see no mention of libelZMA. So Arch users were pretty much safe. In any case, the way the backdoor works is the attacker constructs a specially crafted package, and if certain criteria are met, and also the packet is encrypted and signed by the attacker's private key, then it goes ahead and decrypts it. The malicious code decrypts the packet and then executes the bundled command. Now, how can we confirm infection in a more concrete way? The original article in OpenWall contained a detect.sh script, which is basically scans the existence of a function signature in the libelZMA library, in the installed libelZMA shared object. But it uses hexstamp, and hexstamp is not available on the provided machine we gave to players. So players could use an alternative, which is Bitdefender's XZ scanner, which pretty much does the same thing. So let's copy it over. And let's run it. And indeed, our shared object of libelZMA is infected. And just for good measure, let's check out what is being run by the attacker. We see a post request being constructed with the contents of our etc shadow, and then everything is being uploaded into this endpoint right here. So how do we fix this? Well, the only correct way, and the only way that hopefully it will give you the flag, is to just upgrade the package, which is the most correct way to do it. The only correct way to do it, which is basically just downgrading the package, because the updated version of Debian is just a rolled back version that doesn't contain the backdoor. During the competition last year, we've seen some really interesting, unorthodox and wrong ways that some players approached the problem. We've seen some players that backdoored libLZMA with their own public keys, so the checker, in thinking that the checker wouldn't be able to check. We've seen other players that removed SSH entirely in hopes that something would happen. I don't know. And to top it all off, we've seen players that just downright removed SH, so almost turning the box into a rootless box. Although all the approaches were wrong, because no approach actually fixes the problem, which is removing the compromised package, and obviously none of them would give them the flag. So let's copy over our updated package, or the downgraded package, should I say. And then let's use the package again with -I to install. Indeed, we are downgrading, but we are fixing the issue. We are removing the backdoor, and let's give it a couple of minutes for the checker to run. I could have done it with piece by open, but I wanted to just plainly broadcast the message without any momentary spoilers. So we have a broadcast message from somewhere that tells us that the backdoor has been eliminated and that we should check the root directory. We see a flag.txt, and the flag reads, "OXZ, we found the backdoor." Now, some of you may have noticed that we have an Ubuntu kernel, but we have a Debian distro. This is because we are in a Docker container, and this was the only way to facilitate a kind of bulletproof checker, for example. So players SSH into this environment, which is completely clean, and they cannot tamper with the checker outside of it. This environment sits in a VM, and the checker has full authority over how to conduct the checks, and is also invisible to the end user as well. So this was the challenge. I hope you learned something from this workshop. I hope you enjoyed the challenge last year, and Also, hopefully you'll enjoy the challenges we created for this year. Thank you all for watching. I've been Canopus, and I will catch you again on the next one.
Hi, Chad. I was able to fix the audio issues. Not the mic that I want to be using for this, but it'll work. Anyways, thank you for letting me know that I was going full robot. That was a new one for me. Yeah. Don't know why I just decided to show my jacket in the background. But anyways, thank you everyone for bearing with me in that. Let me go ahead. I'm going to go through the CTF announcements. Chad, is this okay? A little bit better right now? I'm not seeing any complaints in chat, so I'm thinking we're pretty good. Uh, Anyways, briefly, let's go over the CTF announcements again, just to cover those quickly. The CTF itself is starting tomorrow. That is in roughly 24 hours. I'm going to post this link in chat. Awesome. Thank you, Siva. That is open to anyone. You can register right now, and I recommend you doing so. Oh, never mind. You're talking to someone else. Thank you, Andy. Perfect. Thank you, chat. I'm not using Arch on this computer, but on a different one. Though, if you want to talk about Arch, you can talk to Emma. Anyways, the CTF itself is starting tomorrow. You can join this with the team. I've linked that in chat there, so make sure to do so. The CTF itself, we have some awesome challenges. I did want to mention we did have one challenge that was updated. That was bus factor has been updated to I am root. That has been updated just because we saw a couple technical issues with that one challenge. I'm not exactly sure what those issues were from my end, but I do know that we have replaced that. So that has been updated. That being said, back to our regularly scheduled content here. That talk you just listened to was Cleaning House, Detecting and Removing the XZ Backdoor by Canopus. Great talk. Thank you so much for putting that together. Next, we have another really, really cool talk. I'm not biased at all in saying this, not at all. This is by Pan Awesome. He is the head of community. He's my direct lead for the work that I do. Yeah, that filter's having issues. We will fix that. That's an easy one to fix, though. Attacking web servers and sandbox escaping. Awesome talk that Panos has put together. If you're not familiar with, well, actually here, take this back for a moment. If you haven't done a lot of web evaluations, or especially looking at sandboxes, understanding how sandboxes operate, this talk could be a really good one for you. And don't be afraid to go back. This is a good one to watch right now and just kind of let things sink in, and then go back and watch it again to get a full understanding of that. These talks can also be great resources as you're going through the challenges, especially as you're looking to put words to what you're looking at, be able to describe it accurately. So great talk to come back to as well. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Panos with attacking web servers and sandbox escaping. Go ahead and take it away, Panos.
Hey everyone, this is Panos from Hack the Box, and in this workshop we're going to take a look at a very easy challenge, a full pon one from last year Business ETF. So before we already begin, I have done some steps to not have you sit through and watch people load. The first one was I spawned the machine, so we have the IP and nothing more. I also downloaded from this button right here the VPN file, and I connected to the VPN. I also ran the nmap scan, so we don't have to wait for the scan to finish. And we only found a single port running on the default HTTP port, port 80. This is a Nginx 1.18 whatever. So the first thing to do is to try and visit this web page, but what we see immediately, if you take a closer look, is immediately we get a redirect to submerge.htb, and our browser does not identify this domain. We can make a guess that this domain is on the same server that the challenge is running, so we can try to edit our host file and add it as an entry. So you need to be a super user to do this. And the first line shows us the syntax of how to do it. We just paste the IP, some white spaces, and the domain that we want to. So we save it, and if we try to visit the website again, this time it should work. For some reason this doesn't say it is slow today, so let's wait for some seconds for the page to load. While we're waiting, another thing that you could do is you could try to do nmap again, but you could try to scan all the ports in case something else is running, but for this challenge I know that this is not the case. And we are forced to sit and wait here until this page loads. And we can also try to just visit the normal page. The server is taking a while to load, but it finally does. So let's see what we managed to get. We have a menu on the left, and we have something that looks like a blog of some kind on the main screen. There is also an about page, which this about page has some general info, maybe something can be interesting here. There is a contact form that maybe you could try to exploit, maybe somebody reads it, maybe you can do an XSS on it. We also find an email. And let's go once again in the homepage. So if you go through it, there are very different posts that are all about the theme of last year's CTF, which was the effects of a nuclear fallout. So the very first post in this blog, it's called The Relocation, and we can read that with the nuclear devastation wiping out the old way of life as we knew it, we have refactored our site and retired our original website at SPIP, and this is a clickable link, so we can try to go there. So we see that our browser tries to find this subdomain, which once again it does not know. So we could try to do the same thing, and we can try to make the guess that this subdomain is probably hosted in the same server. So no need for a new line, you can just at the end add a new domain as well. Let's see if I write it, yes. And we can try once again to see if it loads. This site is taking some time, so probably it's going to take a minute, but it will load. Once we wait for it to load, we can see this. Some of you may know what this is. I didn't, but you can always try to Google to find some information. This is some weird stock thing, I don't know what this is, but we can see from the ready answer that SPIP is also a free CMS, essentially. So probably what this blog post describes is how they moved to the new software and the old software is running and in SPIP still. And we just have to wait for this to load. Since we are waiting, we might as well make use of that time and try and see if there are any vulnerabilities known for this website. What am I writing? And we see that there is an entry in exploit database. This is not the same CVE, I believe, or could be. So we also have some ideas on what we may do once this website decides to load. I don't know why it takes so much time. It finally did load. Okay, this looks quite old. It's quite empty. We can try to see if we can do something with the search. It doesn't seem to, but we can always try. We can run, we can try to find the SQL injection or whatever. We can try, there is a login screen. We can try to do the default admin. You never know. It doesn't seem to work. And we can try to have a look at the traffic as well. We can instruct it to reload to see if it has any interesting info. Same way though, we can try to do a verbose curl from our terminal to see if we get any interesting info from the headers or whatever. So we'll do curl -v, which is the verbose flag, and then we're going to do the http spip.submerge.com. Not com, http. There it probably is something called submerge.com. Okay, let's see what we got from this. This is the code for the website, and this is something interesting. We get the version of the SPIP software that it is running. So it is the version 4.0.0, and if we visit the first vulnerability, the first result of DuckDuckGo in that case, probably it's the same in Google as well, we see that the fixed versions is the 4.0.10, so probably 4.0.0 is still vulnerable to this specific RC. We can take a look at it. The downloadable file is a Python file, and it says that we have a remote code execution without the need for authentication, and it shows the usage. Also, we can go through the code, and we can see that we can also use some arguments, and this argument is the URL, the target essentially. The sees the command that you want to run with RC, and you can get a verbose output. We can try to do this. We will use the verbose flag in case something goes wrong. I hope it doesn't, and I hope it does run. So let's download the Python file. Since there is no need to alter it, since the URL is added as an argument, and let's try run it. So let's clear the screen, and okay, we are here. So we saw that the syntax is Python 3, the name, then we need the URL. Let's try to add the default SPIP website. And we need to add a command. So for this, we need to test that the exploit is running. So let's try just running. We need to be super user, I think, to do that. Let's try to run a simple server, HTTP server on port 80, and see if we can get a hit. So yes, let's see curl, and we need to get this from our IP address, which I do not know. this is our IP address, okay? Let's see if this will work. We get a hit. So that's great. That means we have remote code execution. So what I have already done is I search the web and I find a nice bash script. Let's kill this for now. And I save this bash script on my documents folder. I have two different versions, so I will show you what I'm going to use, which is the first one. There is a chance that most of you have already seen this script 1,000 times. And this will give us a reverse shell on port 4444. So first of all, let's open the HTTP server here. Then let's set up a listener to get back the reverse shell on 4444. Listening, and let's run the exploit again. But this time we want it to get the bash.sh file. I hope this is the name. And we can try to download it the first time and then run the script again, and the second command to be just run the bash, right? But we can also pipe the result of the CURL on the bash program itself, and hopefully this will work and we'll get a reverse shell back. Let's pray and hit enter. Let's see if we get a hit. Not yet, not yet. It timed out, but I think because it happened before as well, this has more to do with my connection than it has to do with the command itself, because as you saw, we already ran the script and it is running. Let's give it another try. I think this is a software issue. It's time to do some troubleshooting together. Let's run the previous command again and see if we still get the same message. Yes, since we get the timeout, it means I'm quite unlucky. That means my internet connection died in the middle of running a workshop. Okay, it usually does this thing. Let's give it a second. And probably I will edit this part out later in the video. Let's try once again to see if it works. Now it's our time. Go, 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 go. Yes, yes. We have to go quickly before I lose my internet again. So we are in a different system. We get the reverse shell. So let's see who we are. We are Matthew. We are in the var WSPIP file, and let's see the user. The home directory for Matthew. The home directory, we can find the user flag, and we can try to go for the root flag. So we are in a Linux system, as we can see by the folder structure. So we can try to do the standard Linux privilege escalation tricks. So the first one would be to just see what kind of commands can our user run. And it seems that we are lucky because it doesn't need a password and we can run all commands. So I guess we could do this as well. We are root. We can, let's see, we are at the, okay. So we can try to go at cd.root. But it seems to be empty. What does that mean? it means that the content team forgot to put the flag inside. No, that's not it. If we see our our cell before, the the name of the machine that we have the access on, it's called win dash whatever. This and the fact that there is no root flag, there are two indications that the Linux subsystem that we are running in right now, it's not the original host. It is a subsystem. And what this is, it's probably a WSL. So what is a WSL? A WSL, I think it means Windows Subsystem for Linux. So it is, you can think of it as a VM, but instead of virtualizing the whole computer, inside it's just a subsystem that runs as a Linux system inside the Windows system. The reason that people want to use something like this is they want to use native Linux tools, for example, in this web server to run. And why they would use this instead of launching a VM, it's because WSL also shares the resources with the host. There is no need for resource sharing. So for example, if you need to launch a VM like I have right here, you have to give it like 2 of your cores and some of your RAM and stuff like that. So a common thing that common privilege escalation is you can, in WSL system, sometimes you can mount the C drive in the Linux system. So essentially, if you can do that, you can get full access on the machine. So let's see this article by Microsoft. And we can see the example of the command to run. So let's hope my internet is still there. No need to add sudo since we are root, and we are trying to mount trf, vfs. I don't know what these things are. The default Windows drive, the C drive, and we're going to mount it on /mt/c. Okay, I already did it previously. So we can try to go. So this is not the first time that I run this command. That's why we get this message. I forgot to unmount it. So we can try to go there. And here, if we type ls, you can see a very common Microsoft interface. So this is the C drive. So we can go in the users. And you can see the different users. We can see there is an administrator. And if you go in the desktop of this administrator, you will find the root flag. So that was it. Most of the challenge, I think it was pretty straightforward. You did an nmap, you added the host. It was a default, it was the first payload that you found online, but since it's a very easy challenge, but since this is a hack the box competition, we also had to add a little twist. We also had the challenge running inside the container of some kind, so that was the tricky part of the challenge. I hope you learned something new from this workshop, and I hope you have a great time tomorrow and the rest of the week on our competition. Goodbye, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that great talk, Panos. I hope everyone enjoyed that. Thank you, Chad, as well. Appreciate the comments. Thank you, everyone, for being here as well. We have a couple more awesome talks coming up. I was slightly misspoken when I said that we had a swap out. Our next talk, we did have a slight tweak in our schedule for instead of a talk from Bus Factor, we have a workshop from I Am Root. Still great stuff. I'm very excited to see it. Thank you, everyone in chat, and thank you for being here. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to I Am Root for another awesome talk. Now, one quick note, we do have one more after that, so be sure to stick around. And once we're done with that talk, I'll talk a little. I'll talk. No, I will speak about the CTF a little bit, just going over the schedule, making sure that we cover anything with that. If you have any questions about the CTF too, feel free to put them in chat. We do see chat, and we can answer anything in there. So Well, maybe not anything. Don't ask for CTF solutions. Don't know about that. Anyways, that being said, let's go ahead and pass it over to I Am Root for the next workshop. Go ahead and take it away.
Hey guys, my name is Karthik Durg, and today in this demo, I'll be walking you through one of my very own Sherlock called Groundworm, which is an attack simulation of Sandworm APT designed for defenders to get some defensive insights. Before we begin, uh, sorry, a little bit about myself. I'm currently working as a defensive content engineer at Hack the Box. I've been working here since 2+ years, and uh, I've been in this cybersecurity industry since 8+ years from different fields, starting as a blue teamer and going and becoming a red teamer. And some of the Sherlocks that I created for Hack the Box are like Superstar, Neural Noel, the ransomware that is in Optical Trace 5, Horse Panda D, Saboteur, Pearls, Popnet, and so on. So the scenario for this Sherlock is imaginary, as you can see it, and it's about how the Gotham's power infrastructure have started their project called Project Sentinel, where they are simulating real world threat actors for defenders, and once they are done, they will be providing all the logs and all the attack logs and stuff like that to defenders to build defensive visibility. So with that, let's quickly move on to our Hack the Box console. Now that we have understood the scenario, we will get started with Groundworm. So as you can see, that I have already answered a few questions which I cannot really undo. So we'll just quickly get started with task 1 to task 6. So yeah, the first task goes like, which service did the attacker exploit to gain initial access into the Gotham's network? I have already downloaded the logs. It also comes with an instruction on how you can import the Windows event logs available in the Windows folder, and the Windows folder also contains the logs, the API logs. So the one that we are really interested for the first question is the Ubuntu logs. We'll quickly open all of them in a notepad. As you can see, like, it has several entries in each of them. So for the first question, we are really interested in the main log file, and as soon as we open it, we see that the Ubuntu was running Exim 4.89, which is the Exim is basically a mail transfer agent which runs as a daemon on the machine, and it is running on the port 25. So just like Exim, there are many other mail transfer agent that have their own SMTP service implemented. And if you like to see the service, how the service is implemented for the Exim mail transfer agent, so you can just go to the GitHub repository of Exim and look for this file under the source directory. Here you can see there is a lot of code, and you can also see some commands to interact with the Exim SMTP service. Going back to the log, here we can also see that there are some attempts made to exploit the CVE 2019-10149. So yeah, the answer for the first question is SMTP, straightforward, as it looks like, and as it is the only way to interact with exim, sorry, as it is the only way to interact with the exim application using the SMTP service it provides. So yeah, as you can see, going back to the challenge, SMTP was the right answer. So the second task is how many lines of data did the attacker send in order to exploit the above service. Again, quickly going back to the main log, we already know which CVE is being exploited. So just to confirm, we can go to this repository and see what it has to offer to answer this question. I already have it here. So we click this. As you can see, like it's the same CVE, and the exim that we are running is vulnerable to the same. It has a lot of info on how we can install and stuff. We'll quickly scroll to the usage. So here you can see how exim accepts the hello request, which is how the exim does it. And in the data, we see that the author, or in order to exploit this service, will have to send 31 lines of data plus plus an empty line, you can say. So it's basically like 32 lines of data that you have to send. And as you can see, like the message ended here after sending 32 lines of data. So the answer for the task 2 is 32. The task 3 is what is the attacker's command and control IP address. We'll go to the same main log, and we do see, like as you can see, there are already several attempts to run the exploit. So if you scroll down, you can see like the attacker is trying to execute a reverse shell after the exploit, and just after the netcat command, we see an IP address here, and connecting to port 1337. So we'll copy this IP address. We will remove, change these hex to dot, and yeah, this should be the attacker's command and control IP, which is also submitted and accepted here. The task 4, what is the name of the file the attacker created to attempt to maintain persistency that would only work after reboot? For this question, we will open the bash history, as it contains all the command line arguments that were captured. It has a lot of lines, and as soon as we scroll down, we see there are several interesting ones. We see like there is some creation of a file called .tab, and immediately after that we also have attacker creating syslog d.service. Here, so once the service file is created, we also see that it is being updated with the service, with the configuration in the service file, and once it's saved, it is being enabled using the systemctl command, and then configuring the system with the daemon reload command. So this means like the configuration was loaded, but it is not immediately effective, as in order to run it, the system has to first reboot, and that's when it gets executed. So yeah, the answer for this task, as you can see, is syslog d.service. And during our previous analysis for task 4, we also saw that like the attacker was creating cron job, which runs every minute, and it's a reverse shell that is connecting to the IP that we discovered previously. So yeah, the another persistency mechanism that the attacker has implemented. So the answer for the next question we already know or knew that, which is .tab file. So these are all the sandworm techniques that were used during during the attack on one of the power grid. I think the LP power grid. So yeah, this is quite useful if you would like to capture such events, and you can just go back and create rules uh, in your monitoring system. So yeah, the task 6 is the attacker successfully accessed confidential system file on Linux. What is the file's name? So immediately after running, reloading the daemon using the systemctl command, we also see that attacker is trying to, or has waived the shadow file. And in the entire log, like this is the only like confidential file that they try to waive or they have waived. So the answer for the task 6 is pretty straightforward. It's a shadow file. The next task, which is the task 7, the attacker successfully cracked the secret data obtained from the above file, which computer was first targeted for lateral movement. Um, so just like how the sandworm did it, so it's the same scenario here, and uh, the way we can do this is, so I've already loaded the event logs inside Splunk, inside my Splunk instance, so you guys can follow the instructions when you are working in your own lab to do the same. So let's assume this scenario that you start your day as a blue teamer, and you just go and sit in front of your any of the log analysis or Elasticsearch or like Splunk instance or anything like that, and you go and you cannot just start looking at every event IDs and look for suspicious logs. It's very tedious task. So as a blue teamer, what I used to do when I was working as a blue teamer was um, just go there and start look for all the PowerShell logs that are running in a hidden window. So this would actually give me a lot of malicious or suspicious activity that is happening in the environment. So and most of the time it used to be very true. I used to get all the true positive alerts, and the only time when I never got was when I was alerted that there was some maintenance or some configuration changes being done by the administrator of the organization. So with that, we will just uh, hit the search button. So this is actually Splunk bad practice. I mean, we cannot just do this in a huge in an organization that has huge number of logs. It's just that since I have imported the logs, I cannot the Splunk is not able to parse the command line arguments. So here I have very less logs, so we can just follow this method here. So when you're working on your own Splunk instance in your organization, please do include the proper fields so that your search is faster. Okay, so when we do this, we see a lot of suspicious events happening that are logged by the event that are logged in the event log. So uh, we also see like there are two hosts the two computers that are running this. Uh, to get the first computer that that executed this suspicious PowerShell activity, we will just do sort underscore time to list them in a um, yeah, descending order, ascending order. Um, so yeah, as you can see, the first machine that executed this PowerShell was desktop Batman, and this should be our first answer. So let's try submitting this. Okay, it's without the domain. Okay, great. Uh, we have our first. We have a first. The computer, the first computer that was targeted for the lateral movement. Um, and let's now that we have the the computer that was targeted. So the next question is what is the attacker's internal IP? So we already have the first, you know, computer that was targeted. So we will do source event log security, and let's say computer name maybe, or host. We can just say computer name equals desktop admin city, and we can just hit enter here, or we'll just hit the search button. Yeah, we get a couple of logs. So let's look at source IP. Okay, we do see like a couple of IPs, but these two, as we know, like they are localhost. We only have one source IP, that is that it's coming from the incoming commission to this computer is coming from. And so let's just expand the log, and we see that an account logon was logged on. So this should be the attacker's IP address, since this is the only connection over here that is interacting with Batman. And yeah, we can also, let's say, try searching something like this. If let's see if can see any other event logs. Okay, yeah, that's the right one. So yeah, we have a logon ID as nil. Yeah, this definitely looks suspicious. So let's try submitting this for the answer for the task 8. Great. So this is the right answer for task 8. Now that we have the IP address, so the next question is like, what is the logon ID associated with the attacker's initial login to victim machine? Okay. So we do have everything right now. Like we have the desktop, the computer name, the first victim of the computer name of the first victim, the source IP address. Here, we can also do the same thing here. Let's say like sort time. You can say, or something like sort time minus. So as we go down, like we do see like it's in a descending order. And if you just directly go scroll down, we see we can see the login ID here. So So the last log would be the first initial attempt made to log into this computer. So let's submit this. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we are now done with task 9. So the next task is which Windows administrative feature is responsible for initiating the suspicious PowerShell execution. Here we will follow the same practice that we did, like searching for the hidden PowerShell command, like PowerShell running in a hidden window, um, and see if we can find anything interesting. Uh, we can also do like again filter out the logs. So yeah, I think we do not have the parent process here. uh, it would just ease up our method of finding the 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 parent process that is responsible for doing this. So we do have, like, we do have something called as message. So let's see if we find anything interesting in message. Yeah, okay, perfect. So here you can see like in the message section, let's just filter it out and expand the logs. Okay, so here as you can see, the PowerShell that is running, and this is actually the parent process that is spawning the cmd.exe, and this cmd.exe is running the malicious PowerShell script. So this WMI PRV SE.exe is nothing but a process that is linked to Windows management instrumentation. So yeah, let's submit the answer. Okay, perfect. So as you guys saw, like how this this CMD is getting spawned from PowerShell.exe. So this looks like some kind of lateral movement uh, via some tool using that is targeting the WMI of this machine. So let's move on to our next question to find it out. So the task 11 is which toolset did the attacker utilize during lateral movement? So we'll go back to our Splunk instance, and here we have been seeing a lot of PowerShell, and the encoded PowerShell that is being executed. But if we closely look at how it is being executed, we see that it is first using cmd.exe with a following switch, and then it uses some command, and then it outputs the command, the output of the command that was executed to a share over here. So let's see this behavior. Just go and Google this behavior. Let's say lateral movement. So immediately we see a lot of blogs that come up. So we'll just click on the first one, and yeah. So as soon as we click this, we immediately come across the Python's the im packets WMI exec the WMI-exe script that was actually uh, that actually has this behavior. But in order to understand how this is executed, uh, we'll have to see how the command is actually running over here. So as you can see, um, that the WMI-exec first executes the command and outputs its the output of that command to share that was created by Impacket. So here what Impacket is doing is, when you run the wmi.exec.py, it actually it first starts the SMB server using SMB server.py that is available in Impacket, and then executes the command. And then the output of that command is sent to the attacker that is hosting the SMB server. So if we just say WMI-exe is the answer, that's not right, because here SMB server.py is also involved. And let's look have a deep look, like a the proper look at this in our diagram. So Impacket is a collection of classes, and once the attacker executes it, it creates a attacker share using SMB server.py, and then executes the command, and then it outputs it back to the SMB server that attacker created. So here, WMI exec is not just a standalone tool. It relies on SMB server.py, and again, this script relies on other internal classes of Impacket framework. So that's why the answer for this question should be Impacket. So let's submit it. Yeah. So so now we will move on to the next question, that is task 12. Which Win32 API was utilized by the above process to execute the attacker's command line? So we have the API logs, and as we know that WMI prvsc.exe was executing this thing, we will go to we will just expand the process and click on wmiprvsc.exe to just narrow it down to what this process actually executed. We already know that it was executing cmd.exe, or we can also search for PowerShell. Okay, maybe, yeah. Okay, so as you can see, the create process user W is the one that is actually responsible for creating a process and executing these commands. So the answer should be create process as user W. Let's submit this. Perfect. With that, we'll now move on to task 13, which Win32 API was used to hook the keylogger procedure to the user's keyboard. In the same captured logs, we have a lot of other command cmd.exe running. The one that looks like a keylogger is the process called log.exe. And again, clicking on this will give us all the API executed by other modules. So we will just narrow it down to log.exe. And as soon as we narrow it down, it only lists us what the API Win32 API triggered by log.exe. So as soon as we see it, we come across a very well known API for key logging, and here we see that in the second argument is the one that is a procedure that is stored in some random address is hooking wh keyboard underscore ll. So let's this should be an answer for the task. Let's try submitting it and see if it gets accepted. Yeah, perfect. So with that, we will now move on to task 14. Successfully captured the administrator's credentials. What was the captured password? So for this, we will go back to our API monitor tool and click on keylogger, the process log.exe. And here we already saw in the previous answer that it was set Windows hook that was initiating, you know, the procedure. And just after the set Windows hook, uh, we see that there is an empty write file API being called, and we can also see that it is writing stuff into the file. So we'll just follow this API, and you can see there are some letters and some hex buffer translating to some letters. So as we follow it, there are a lot of anti-write file APIs that are being called over here. So I've already copied all the hex buffer here, and we can just recreate the file using hex editor. File, copy and paste it, save as some test.txt. So we'll open the text file, and here we can clearly see that attacker has captured the credentials, and the password over here is p2ssword1. We will just paste it, submit the answer. Okay, right. So why P2SS, I mean the captured password is the right answer. What actually happened during the simulation was the victim typed the password that was typed during the simulation was p at ssw0rd1, and the backspace and 2 that appears after after the password is completely from a different action. So if when an user does that, that doesn't mean the keylogger is actually deleting the text from log.txt. It's just logging it continuously, and also there is no indications that one was erased from the log.txt. Um, the takeaway from this question is the simulated technique is input capture, keylogging, and this is what the Sandworm used during in its binary. And a flawed output doesn't mean the capture was failed. So in terms of attackers terminology, when we say the attacker has successfully captured it, it means the attacker has uh, captured the credentials or all the data that user was inputting into. And the intent of the goal of this Win32 API is to show how anti-write file provides clear visibility into what the attacker actually captured, and monitoring it also enables defenders to assess what was actually exfiltrated from the victim machines. So yeah, that's for the task 14, and we will now move on to task 15. List all the confidential files that were encrypted by the ransomware in order that they were encrypted. Um, so we have two API monitor files. We will open this for the DC API monitor file, and we will just hover over the run.dll32.exe, and we see that the run.dll32 has executed a file, I mean, has loaded a DLL with file called perfc.dat, and it has then executed a function within the DLL. So we'll look for this perfc.dat. We'll click on this just to narrow down what it has actually executed, and as soon as we open it, we see some files here uh, that were actually being accessed with a create file A API, and it was then encrypted. So I think these are the three files that the attacker has encrypted. I already have all the names of three files. We'll just submit them as the answer. The task 16 is which Win32 API is used to encrypt the files mentioned above. So previously we saw that immediately after accessing the contents of the file via create file API, so the file is being encrypted, and it is then being saved with a .enc extension. So the API that is encrypting the file is crypt encrypt. So let's submit that. Encrypt. Okay. Perfect. So the last question for this Sherlock is submit the 16-byte hex key that was used for encryption. So we already know that the Win32 API is being used over here belong to the WinCrypt header file or the WinCrypt library. And whenever this is being accessed, there are two ways the program can generate keys. One is using the cryptgen, and the other one is using crypt import key. So here we already see like the program or the attacker used crypt import to import the key, and immediately when we click on this, we see a hex buffer here that says dead beef and dead beef 4 times, which is 16 bytes. So yeah, let's submit this as an answer, as I've already copied all the hex buffer and you know re-entered it as a raw byte as you submit it in your when you're coding in the array. So we'll just submit this. Perfect. Yeah, that's the groundworm Sherlock. The key takeaway from this last question is uh, capturing getting to know how this crypt import key works, and how you can actually extract this valuable encryption key from this file is let's say if a machine is infected and the endpoint security is actually monitoring this this API, um, you can actually capture this key and later use it to decrypt all the encrypted files that when the victim is infected, and you can use these keys to actually decrypt them. So that's how valuable it would be if we can monitor crypt encrypt key. So yeah, I mean, again, not just encrypting it again with a lot of conditions, but yeah, it does contain valuable information. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for staying with me on this, and giving me some valuable insights for this challenge. I have definitely learned a lot when I was creating this, and I hope you guys have also learned from this. So yeah, please feel free to message me on Discord. It's I4MR00 root. So yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that talk, I am Root. That was a great presentation showing off the Hack the Box Sherlocks, which, if you're not familiar with those are our challenges that are forensics. They're more defensive based challenges that can be a great way to understand what you're leaving behind, especially as you're doing an assessment, starting to get a handle on what are the traces that the defenders can pick up on. Great talk. Thank you so much for submitting that. Additionally, that talk, we're going to have all these up on YouTube after the fact. That is one that thank you for your comments and chat as well. That's one that I fully recommend going back through. That's a great one to sit and hack along with I am Root for that challenge with. Just pause it, get to where he's at, and kind of just work your way through the challenges with him. Really good talk to go back to. That being said, we have one more really cool talk left for today. This one is submitted by Giacomo, who is the head of product marketing here, and then Anthony Wilkinson, who is our lead solutions engineer here at Hack the Box. So really cool, folks. I'm really excited, and especially seeing on the partnership there between Giacomo and Anthony should be really cool content that we have coming out. This talk, I'm bearing the lead here, is Beyond the Benchmark, Creating and Scaling CTF Solutions. So this talk is going to have to do with how do you actually put on an event like this? How do you create one of these? This can be really helpful for if you are looking to create if you want to create these challenges on your own, if you are looking to create them for like a cyber defense club or want to put on an event for your local area. It also can be really helpful just to understand what is going through the minds of the people that are making these. It can give you a better handle on how to play the game. Whenever you take a test, it's understanding how the person who wrote the test wants you to complete it. And it can be really helpful from that end to understand how these are put together. That being said, I'm going to stop bearing the lead here, and we're going to go ahead and get to that awesome talk. This is our last one for today. So go ahead and take it away, Giacomo and Anthony, with Beyond the Benchmark, Creating and Scaling CTF Experiences.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this pre-event for the Global Cyber Skills Benchmark CTF. I'm very excited for this year edition. We kind of rebranded this annual CTF, and we are hoping to give great insights on global cyber skills proficiency around different businesses and industries. And with me today, there's Anthony. That will give a quick demo on our platform and what you can do after you participate to this event. First of all, I'm Jack. I lead product marketing here at Hack the Box. I joined almost 5 years ago, so I've seen Hack the Box through a lot of different phases, from rather small community, global community, until crafting like business solutions and onboarding like major clients. So really excited to be here today. And Anthony, you want to spend a minute to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, my name's Anthony Wilkinson. Happy to be here. Pleasure to be talking to all of you. So thank you very much. I lead our solution engineering team here, which basically supports all of our enterprise and commercial customers on the Hack the Box side of things. So today I'll be kind of walking you through just a really fun and easy way to create a CTF event and how you can use that to benchmark your team and how that translates into using our enterprise platform as well.
Thank you, Anthony. So I'll just spend literally 5 minutes to go through our findings and our insights, that we gathered together over the previous months on these, benchmarking, skills benchmarking practices. So over the last 2 or 3 months, we have talked to our experts. We have done also a series of webinars, which also Anthony contributed to that, on what is the status of cyber resilience and what are the challenges that we face right now. We have seen that there are for sure like 5 main challenges that are connected to the visibility that we have into skills of our teams. Um, we can talk about different metrics that we need to track in terms of different job roles have different skills, fear of exposing weaknesses to through team assessments, and even resources and limitations in terms of training plans or having a regular skills development schedule. Uh, what is uh, what is obvious though is that there is a shift that needs to happen in terms of skills development that moves from these one-time assessments that can be, I don't know, certifications or instructor-led or boot camps, into something that integrates different different way of learning and can be repeated, can be easily repeated over time and deployed easily. So the main takeaways are, coming from the experts that we talk with, are that we need to provide real world exposure. So realistic scenarios, realistic challenges, realistic tools to all cyber professionals. Provide real time updates on skill progression. And of course, as I said, replace this word that is, training into dynamic skill-based assessments. How we do it as Hack the Box is by implementing CTFs as team assessments and benchmarking opportunities. So for us, for employees, for any cyber professional, CTFs keep being like a very fun and entertaining event, right, Anthony? I think we all have fun playing CTFs.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun. It could also be a little scary at times because step
Yeah.
outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. But I mean, in general, I think everyone enjoys like spending time on with their team, learning new things. But especially for managers or for like leadership positions or C-level positions, CTFs become an opportunity to measure skills, to understand where the team actually stands in terms of specific technology, specific categories, specific skills. So that's actually what we are trying to enable with this new event. We want to have a space where all teams have fun. They play with awesome challenges, and you will see in just some hours, once you join the CTF, once the countdown is over, what are content team prepared for you. But also we want to give the opportunity from this fun event to have actual real good insights and see what's next. So for any manager or cyber professional, see how we can use these insights and build something something that can last in our cybersecurity training strategy. And this is mostly like how we envision, how we also are helping our clients putting this into reality through 5 steps. So organizing a CTF, a gamified event through our CTF platform, get the insights from the reports that is generated from directly from the platform based on the performance. And then we go into benchmarking and mapping what are strengths and weaknesses based on the CTF results, building a long-term skills development plan, and in the end of the period that we want to evaluate, that can be 6 months, can be 1 year, organize another CTF to see what's the progress in our workforce. The good news is that if you are here and if you are joining tomorrow the cyber skills benchmark, you will have the first 2 phases for free. So we are actually giving the opportunity to everyone to assess, to have a first assessment and benchmark, get a report, and then start building what's coming after. And yeah, basically I'm done, to be honest. Like, I already spoke enough. I want to see, like, I want you to see this in action. So I'll leave it to Anthony, that will give us a walkthrough on basically building a CTF, and then like building a plan based on the performance. So Anthony, all yours.
All right, thanks, Jack. Let me pull up my screen here. Okay, so I'm going to walk us through a little bit of an exercise on just creating a CTF event for all of you that are participating in this, and we'll eventually have CTF credits. The platform is made so that it makes it very, very easy to conduct and execute your own CTF event based on any sort of outcomes you want. So today I'm going to kind of walk you through that whole process, shopping our catalog very quickly, how you can curate your own event based on any sort of requirements you have for training or benchmarking your team. So as we follow along here, you'll see here I'm on the homepage of our CTF platform. And if we kind of browse over to here where it says host your own event, you know, under your respective company, right now I'm under Hack the Box, and you can see I have 25,000 credits to spend at my disposal, which I could use to make some really fun capture the flag style events. When you go to the host the event page, you'll see you could shop on a very large amount of CTF packs that we've already created that you could click into and you could read about. And before we get started with creating, I just kind of want to show you what that looks like. As you're trying to browse our catalog and you're interested in something around maybe defensive security, we make it really easy where you could click into one of our packs and just read about what this pack includes. So you're kind of shopping the defensive security CTF package. You'll see here that the content within it has 10 challenges. We kind of estimate, maybe taking 2 days. Of course, that take that with a grain of salt. It really just depends on what you're trying to get out of your event. Anyways, though, you could walk through here and scroll down the screen and kind of just see everything that's going to be covered in this particular event. So you're shopping from a, let's just say, defensive mindset. You'll see that a lot of the scenarios in here are going to cover a lot of industry-specific tools when it comes to defensive security. So you'll see here volatility, which has to do with memory analysis, Wireshark, where you can analyze network traffic, Yara for detection engineering, and so on, right? You could go through this pack and you could really see what we're offering. So you don't really have to go shop individually. However, we make it really easy on this platform where you can do that. But just real quick, again, you could click on these challenges. You could look at the overview of the challenge as somebody who's administrating and creating and curating a CTF event. This is really helpful. And we cover the target audience and what you can expect. But I'm going to go back to the library here, and I'm going to kind of walk you through how, yes, you could shop all of our pre-populated packs, but walking you through how easy it is to actually create a CTF. So I'm going to click Create CTF here. And by default, you're presented with a single page, single pane of glass here where you can start to edit your event, add in graphics. I'm going to kind of walk through this as sort of a benchmarking activity. So, what's my event going to be about? Well, I'm kind of focused on skill assessment right now in my pseudo company. And we're going to call it, we'll call it Cyber Benchmark Defensive Q2. After I've named my event, I could come down and make it, start to pick the event options on when I'd like to execute the CTF. I could pick the amount of players that I want to participate, how much content I want to populate the actual event with. By default, we have 10 slots, 15, all the way up to 30. And what those slots correlate to are the actual challenges. So if it says 10 slots, I could have 10 challenges. If it says 30 slots, I could have 30 challenges. You get the idea here. Very quickly, though, let me just select a date. I'll kind of do this in the future. I'm going to go somewhere in June. We'll pick towards the end of the June on a Friday, and I'm going to run it for maybe, let's say 3 hours. Pick my time zone. Now, this is where it gets fun. You have the ability to follow what we call our expert packs, which I just showed you a brief glimpse of earlier, where we have pre-developed content packs, defensive security, offensive security, hardware, you name it. Or I could build my own pack, and that's where I get to pick and choose very a la carte menu style options, which can be very exciting at times. So from there, I'm gonna actually build my own pack and kind of show you how you can walk through our content library to pick. You'll also notice here we have AI recommendations based on packs that you can select, which we will give you some recommended challenges based on what you're selecting. But for today's scenario, again, in the content library, I could go between the packs, which I showed you earlier, or I can come over here to our standalone scenarios. I'm going to use our filter option here, which is really convenient. You could filter between easy all the way to insane difficulties. You can filter based on our average duration of completion times of the challenges. Some anti-cheating mechanisms like flag rotation. Maybe that's really important because you want to make sure nobody's sharing flags. And if you enable this flag rotation feature, you're going to be presented with a lot of our scenarios that support this technology to combat cheating. Categories, I could break it down by categories. And for today's demonstration, I'm going to do this forensics filter. So I'm going to click save here, and you'll see once I've filtered on defensive security, I'm presented with a large list of content that now I can start to add into my CTF event. Very easily, I could come over here and click just add. But before I do that, I'm also presented with the option to look at the challenge. I could click in here where it says PowerShell Theater. It's rated at a very easy difficulty rating. It falls under forensics. And this challenge is analyzing a compromised system that has been imaged with FTK Imager. What's great about this too, for you administrators that are trying to create your event, is this is where we start to talk about taking the gamification, the benchmarking, and translating that into some sort of gap analysis, gap training, benchmarking, understanding the gaps in your team. Is we assign resources to every challenge scenario. What these resources are, these are our academy modules that exist in our enterprise platform for either remedial training, providing a little background prior to an event. If somebody wants to get a little more familiar with digital forensic tools, we map our scenarios to our academy. And as you start to populate your event with challenges, you're going to get a long list of resources, meaning academy modules that you could either apply to your team for remedial gap analysis training, or again, give them something to practice or maybe brush up on before they do the event. But for sake of time here, I'm going to kind of just go through here and just add a bunch of these challenges into our event. Very easy. And you'll also notice that the very cool AI feature up above, as I start to click on events or scenarios, it pre-populates with recommendations. And you know what? I'll just take a couple of their recommendations. Why not? Makes it easier. You'll see here in the top right corner, I've added 6 of 25. But for now, I'll continue with just, let's just say, we'll fill it up to 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to go back to continue here and this is going to walk through, again, everything for the CTF event is in just one pane of glass. I've named my event. I've selected the date. I put in some content. I'll change this back to 10. I have 10 scenarios. And this is where it gets into the registration piece. I can lock my event down to members only of my organization. I could allow guests, and I could also generate a very unique password, meaning they're going to need to know this. Anyone who's going to participate in this event is going to have this password to register. Again, we could select all the way from team size of 1 up to 15. And if you are benchmarking specific team members, you may want to scale the size of the team to get a really good idea of how they are performing. So for this example, I'm going to shrink mine down to 1. And then the player environment. You could elect not to use our pwn box, but most of our CTF events like to leverage our pwn box, again, which is a addition of Parrot OS running in a browser. It gives you access to all of the pre-installed security tools that you could use in a CTF event, which is great. And I'm going to come down here. I expect 100 people in my event. Maybe I will have 50 pwn boxes. And from there, you could see that this calculator updates your event costs. Right now, it's looking like it's going to cost me 6,200 credits. I'm going to publish my event. And with a click of a button, I've created a CTF event.
Ready to
Live.
go.
There you go. Very easy. Very easy. What was that, Jack? Did I cut you off?
No. Just wanted, just want to highlight that it's kind of, it's pretty easy to get started. I think the easy to deploy part is a big part on what we were saying earlier, right? It makes it easy to have repeated assessments, some fun events that can be used for skill analysis. So just wanted to highlight this. Yeah.
100%. And the nice thing too, as an administrator, once you've published your event and scheduled it, for example, we're scheduling this way out. This gives us the time to come back in and, make changes to the event. Maybe we've reviewed all of the challenges. So what I'm doing here is I'm going back in to manage my CTF event. We still give you the ability to come in and make changes to the event details, the event settings, especially the content. Maybe I didn't like what I picked at first. And I came in here and I started reading about some of the details on these scenarios, the resources assigned to them. And, maybe I wanted to swap it out. We give you that ability where I could come in here and go, you know what? I don't like this. I'm going to remove the scenario and, add other scenarios, go back to the library and shop again. I need one more scenario. Maybe I wanted to pick a different filter in a different category. And I was like, for fun, I want to throw in something around maybe OSINT. And I could come in here and I could select very easily, right? And we make it that easy for administrators to come in and just manage and curate the content. Now, we also give you the ability to turn on hints. So maybe you want to apply hints, maybe you don't. Very easy with a click of a button, boom, now I've turned on the enablement of hints for my challenge, for my scenarios and my CTF event. I can manage the participants that have started to register. But most importantly, what we were talking about earlier is the Academy modules. You'll see here, I get the recommendations of all this learning content. And now I could either start to curate some pre-event learning paths in my enterprise platform, or post CTF after I've been given analytics and data on how everybody performed. I could take what has been recommended to me by this platform and curate a space in our Academy product to assign those that may need some remedial training or need to brush up on how to use specific tools, maybe in the Digital Forensics Academy module that applied to some of the scenarios that they used. So,
Anthony, I have a question, and I think we can wrap it up with,
sure.
with this, right? Imagine you are participating to this Global Cyber Skills Benchmark CTF. What would you do right after? You had fun for these 4 days, 4 or 5 days, and now you receive the report of your team performance. What would be the next step you will go with?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the next step for me, logically, was post-event, after I have the analytics and the report around all of the data and how people performed, is I would take down what was recommended here, and I would come over to our enterprise platform, and I would start to create some additional training. Because when it comes to cybersecurity, it's all about those repetitions, providing that, providing a playground where people could get in here, your teams, and sharpen their skill set. So, for example, I would come over to the enterprise platform here and start to build out some environments for my team. So, kind of playing along, just in what's going on here in this quick demonstration. I've got a blank slate, as you'll see here, and I'm assuming most of you are familiar with our enterprise platform, but if not, I'm going to go into what's called our Academy Lab, and I'm going to create a space, and we'll call it, post CTF development or remediation. So I'm going to go in here, we're going to call it post CTF offensive training forensics. And why I'm covering this as forensics is, theoretically, say we were given the report, and from the CTF, a lot of the scenarios that focused on forensics, maybe, half of my team, or let's just select 10% of them, unfortunately, we're not able to get through some of the digital forensics scenarios because they lacked a skill set in using a specific tool or understanding a specific concept. So I could come in here and I could create a space and populated it with training material. So that's what I'm doing here. I've named my academy space. I'm going to make it private so that only members who have access to it. As an administrator, I'm going to give specific people access to this space. So now I've created a space, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to shop our library of modules. I know that from our CTF recommendations that most of the recommended Academy learning modules were defensive, and one in particular was the digital forensics module. So I could come down in here. What I did earlier right now is I just sorted by defensive security. I could scroll down and look for the module. I could also search for it if I really wanted to. And I'm just showing you kind of a quick browse of some of the defensive security Academy modules. But here we go, Introduction to Digital Forensics. I could click on this. I could read about what this module covers from an Academy perspective, which you could see a lot of keywords here, which were also represented in various CTF challenges or scenarios that we added into the CTF, FTK imager, volatility, autopsy. Okay, boom, I know this is gonna reinforce those concepts that some may have failed at when they conducted this capture the flag event. So very easily, I can click add to lab. I've added it to the lab. Now, if I go back to my lab, you will see there is a learning module here in my post-CTF defensive training. And from there, I could add in users, give them access to this. Also, as an administrator, we could take it, a little further. We can assign this to those. Oh, sorry, screen is messed up here. Again, we could assign this to those that need help in specific areas. I could come through here and I could view the module. I could look at all the different sections that it's going to cover and really understand what it's going to give to, my end user as far as post CTF goes. From there, we could also expand on it. We could take the Academy modules, and what do we do? The Academy modules are guided learning. They provide, reinforcement of specific tools and concepts. And then we could come into our dedicated labs and we could reinforce that concept even further by practicing more defensive challenges, more defensive security content, and really playing with all of the content in the library. It makes it really easy.
That's awesome, Anthony, and thanks for the walkthrough. I think it's also pretty easy, pretty immediate. So I think our suggestion, if I can sum it up, is have fun on the CTF. There is still time to join. You will have time to join actually until the last day, so never too late. Have fun. Experience hard challenges that the team put together. The CTF is going to be extremely realistic this year, simulating an APT group. So super relevant for the industry for the days that we are in now. And after the CTF, after you have fun and you celebrate, take a look at your report. And if you have access to Hack the Box, you can get started immediately. If you don't, Anthony and the team is going to be available to walk you through what you can do. So don't hesitate to catch up with us. And yeah, I think that's all. That's all from us. Have a great CTF. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening to the call. And yeah, thanks a lot, Anthony, for being here with us.
Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that talk, Jack and Anthony. Now, one quick note, we saw that the quality of that talk was a little bit lower. We are going to get that fixed for the YouTube upload if possible. We're going to go through and take a look at that. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and chat. We appreciate it. That being said, that is all for the talks that we have today. All of the talks that we have as part of this stream are going to be uploaded to YouTube later on. We should have a full VOD as well. And in this case, pardon me, seeing chat off to the side. Anyhow, these will be up on YouTube later on, and we'll take a look at that. That being said, with that being all the talks for today, I wanted to go over just a couple quick things for the CTF. don't forget that this starts tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and link the page in chat. That doesn't mean you can't get registered. And in fact, you're welcome to register right now. You can go ahead and get your team set up. Great opportunity just if you're looking for teammates to go and find them. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in our Discord. That is going to be here. I'll type the link because I know this one off the top of my head. There we go. There's our Discord link there. Feel free to join that. We will have a chat channel that's specifically dedicated to this CTF. Yeah, if you have any questions, if you encounter any issues, let us know. But otherwise, thank you for watching today. Be sure to join the CTF tomorrow. But until next time I see you at least, happy hacking and best of luck on the CTF. Thanks, everyone.